Praise for the president. CJ Papa, Fox News. It's coming directly from the Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
And then there's one person who I think you might know. President Donald J. Trump.
With the AG searching for a change of address from Austin to Washington, D.C. in the general election in November, boosted by his triumphant victory over Senator John Cornyn, who is searching for the right to run for a fifth term. Fox's Madeline Rivera has more.
Paxton easily defeated Cornyn in the GOP runoff, 63 to 36%, another sign of the president's power over the GOP. President Trump had criticized Cornyn for not siding with him on some issues like ending the filibuster and the Save America Act. Still, Cornyn is promising to support the Republican ballot.
I've always supported the Republican ticket, and I intend to do so again in this general election.
The president's endorsement of Paxton angered some Republicans who worry about whether he can prevail over Democratic Senate candidate James Tallarico.
A massive meeting today, not at Camp David, which initially was the setting for the get-together, at the secluded country retreat used by presidents roughly 62 miles northwest of our nation's capital.
Amid this tense negotiation with Iran, today's was slated to take place at Camp David, the same place where he convened his cabinet just before bombing Iran's nuclear sites last summer. But that changed yesterday. The president posted, based on possible bad weather conditions tomorrow, we will be having our cabinet meeting in the White House, and we will be postponing the cabinet trip to Camp David. Thank you for your attention to this matter. The stakes are pretty high. Iran accused the U.S. of a grave violation of the ceasefire after CENTCOM carried out what it described as defensive strikes on missile launch sites and Iranian boats trying to lay mines. They vowed to respond as well. This happened just days after the president announced a deal to end the war was largely negotiated.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. The second in command in his anti-fraud task force, moving quickly to fight bogus Medicaid claims. Vice President JD Vance says the group deferred billions of dollars in fraud, including a massive amount in the Golden State. Fox's Kevin Cork.
According to the White House, the work that the anti-fraud task force is already putting in is already paying off.
We referred over $22 billion in fraudulent small business loans back to the Treasury for collection. We deferred more than $1.3 billion in fraudulent Medicaid reimbursements that were coming from various states, particularly California.
The VP says thanks to clawbacks, another $135 billion that was stolen after the floodgates were opened after COVID has been recovered, as has $6.3 billion in suspected fraudulent government contracts. And since launching the new division, prosecuting fraud back in April, more than 450 actions to combat the fraud schemes have been taken in the past 50 days.
That's Fox's Kevin Cork reporting. The man President Trump replaced in the White House going on the legal offensive.
The lawsuit filed by former President Biden urges a federal judge to block the release of the transcripts and audio recordings of his private conversations with the ghostwriter of his book, Promise Me, Dad, A Year of Hope, Hardship, and Response. In 2024, the Conservative Heritage Foundation filed a Freedom of Information Act request and a lawsuit to obtain the material. Biden's Justice Department withheld them, saying they were exempt from disclosure. After President Trump began his second term, the DOJ reversed that position, saying earlier this month that the material would be released with limited redactions to Heritage and to Congress next month. Unless the court intervenes, it will be released on June 15th. Tanya J. Powers, Fox News.
President Trump spent part of his Tuesday at Walter Reed Medical Center for his regular dental and physical exam, posting everything checked out perfectly. The price per gallon of regular dropping 4 cents overnight, that from AAA, landing at $4.45 a gallon. That's down 10 cents from a week ago. I'm CJ Papa, and this is Fox News.